So over the past quarter, we've had pretty good asset allocation. We've had strong returns from our infrastructure and unlisted assets, good performance from our Australian equity share managers, which has meant that according to Super Ratings in the My Super survey, we're the #1 performing fund over 5 years. We're amongst the top handful of funds over 1 year and 3 years. And this is in Australia. So the goal going forward really is to maintain that excellent returns for the next 3 to 5 years, and that's what we're focused on. We are now seeing more volatility in the market. We had that earlier this year. It's certainly come on again in September, but particularly in October. This will be a feature of markets going forward for a number of reasons. First of all, asset prices are very high. We've had a low period of volatility. Interest rates are going up. We've got trade wars, we've got geopolitical issues. So unfortunately, we're entering into a cycle where we're going to have more volatile markets and lower returns. But we've positioned our portfolio to take advantage of that. Hard to say whether the change in government is impacting the economy. Perhaps the biggest issue is with changing so many prime ministers, we're not in the business of governing for the long term. There's also an election coming up. And so as the world is becoming a more difficult place, higher rates, the geopolitical issues and trade, we're too busy changing governments or changing prime ministers. And it would be nice to have some sort of stability and some good governing at the federal level. So we're looking to allocate capital to asset classes and our managers that we believe over the long term will generate good returns for our members. We also like to stay very diversified, so we're not going to be too impacted by one manager. And being a sort of a long-term growth option, obviously we're going to carry equity, infrastructure, property, but at the same time be at least appropriately diversified. Finally, we have the right governance structure so we can implement these decisions as efficiently as possible, and we're of sufficient size to negotiate good fees. So if you add up all of those things that we do, we believe we can sort of mix the assets, get an appropriate fee structure that can deliver good performance for our members. So residential housing, we've been saying for a long time, we think that house prices were too high, and what we're seeing particularly in the eastern states is house prices are falling. We're hearing anecdotal evidence of anywhere between 5 and 10% falls in house prices. What's conveniently forgotten is that house prices in the eastern states, particularly Sydney and Melbourne, have doubled almost over 7 years. And we're seeing a correction. The correction is healthy. It's something that should be happening. We have record high debt anyway, so I think it's a difficult time for housing. I think we are seeing a bumpy road, like other markets where things have been so good for so long that house prices are now normalising. And I think we'll probably see more further falls in house prices, not only in Sydney and Melbourne, but I suspect across Australia. The good thing about that is as house prices fall, it becomes more affordable. So particularly for the younger generations, they can take advantage of that. And if they choose to buy a home, that's great. In terms of investing for your home, investment home loans or investing for housing, be very careful. Carrying record high debt at record low rates, this could be a very tricky environment on how things pan out.
The advice in this video is general advice only. It may not be appropriate for you, and we recommend you obtain independent financial advice and consider the applicable PDS before making an investment decision.